Go ahead.
I'm Pamela Jerry Rosser. I want to thank Madam Chairman and members of the Senate Finance Committee for taking the time to hear what I have to say. I've been the Alamo conservator for over 7 years. I am a San Antonio native and a 9th generation Texan. I'm a 2nd generation conservationist. I have been a conservator for over 25 years, specializing in Spanish colonial wall art and architecture. As the Alamo conservator, I want to thank you for your commitment and support to fund the Alamo with the $75 million during this session. Why are these funds so urgently needed? The Alamo structures have been a sick patient for quite some time. Currently, the walls of the Alamo and the Long Barracks are deteriorating daily due to the surrounding car and bus vibration, exhaust pollution, rising damp, the raised exterior grounds around the historic structures, and much more. I invite you all to come and see it, and I will give you the conservative view of the real Alamo walls. This corrosion is promptly increasing. Thanks to the leadership of the General Land Office and Commissioner Bush, this is the first time an extensive preservation plan has been approved and funded by the state to take care of the Alamo, our cradle of Texas liberty. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The preservation plan team is made up of some of the nation's best preservation scholars, which will be working with me on preserving and protecting the Alamo, our sick patient, which is almost 300 years old. Since the Daughters of the Republic hired me in 2010, and now with the Alamo Trust, I've been conserving the historic surfaces as best one person is able. One person. There's 4,000 square feet of this historic structure surface, which desperately needs more attention. We must catch up on this work and focus on the preservation of the structures at the Alamo so our children and the visitors for another 300 years can enjoy it. Thank you for recognizing the importance in preserving and protecting the Alamo.
Senator Huffman,
just a quick question. I want to make sure I understood what you said. So you're the only person, the only conservator, so is that like an archaeologist type person who is working with actual work on the Alamo after we've sent how many millions?
75.
So I know how much we sent this session. I'm talking about before, and that's it?
108 million.
I mean, can't you get started on this?
I have been working
Well, I'm not
on
fussing at you. Wait, I'm not fussing at you.
But
I know you're working as hard as you can. I'm just disgusted that there's not more people working, to be honest.
If I, and Becky can correct me if I get this somewhat off, but the specialists that did come in and work, they actually came to help compile the plan for the conservation treatment whole process work that will transpire within the next 6 to 8 months. And it takes a lot of studying to do. It's not just what I've done, but there's monitoring that goes in place, and that takes a while. Testing of determining what types of salts are in the walls. What one stone has certain types of salt, the stone next to it has a different type of salt. So you may treat that one stone one way, but you're going to treat the stone next to it a different way. So it.
I guess it's I understand it's complicated. It's just I wish we had been using the money for that a long time ago.
It really takes time to come up with the right plan. You don't want to rush into a plan and then have it be incorrect.
Madam Chair,
Senator Watson.
who do you report to?
I work for the Alamo Trust, and I report to Doug McDonald.
And who pays your salary?
Alamo Trust.
And is the Alamo Trust then reimbursed by the state for your salary?
Yes.
Are you part of the 60 to 70 people we heard Commissioner Bush talk about today?
Yes, sir.
That's employed by the Alamo Trust and then reimbursed by the state?
Yes, sir.
Do any of those 60 or 70 people work for you?
No, sir.
So can you help me understand what those 60 or 70 people do Do you know?
Well, there's a maintenance department that takes care of the landscaping, light bulbs,
I
air
see.
conditioned filters. Then you have a whole education department. You have the living history, finance group, I'm trying to go through my Rolodex here.
But the bottom line is-
Marketing, tour guides.
So the bottom line is that the day-to-day operations of the Alamo are done by the trust, and you and those others are employees of the trust, not the state, but your salaries and expenses are reimbursed by the state.
That's correct.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Nichols?
I'm kind of going where Senator Huffman was going. You've been doing this since 2010, is that what you said?
Yes, when I started in 2010, I was a subcontractor under the DRT that was given a grant from the Ewing Hospital. And so I worked for as a sub under the DRT, under a grant.
So the deterioration of the stones and the mortar and the things everybody looks at, for the past 7 years, you physically are the only person that has been working on the restoring and protecting it?
Well,
That's the way it sounds.
okay, so as
That's a hard-
I'm the first conservator that's been there at the Alamo. Prior to that, the daughters hired a stone restoration company called Curtis Hunt, and they did repointing. That was back in the 90s, and then also they did it in, I think, the 50s or the 60s. So there has been some preservation work done. However, I will say that they didn't have a conservator that did analysis on the historic mortar that was there to know what type of repointing formulas should be used that would blend well and breathe the same as the limestone in the building. So one of the many problems, is the mortar that's there now from the repointing that was done in the 60s and in the 90s is A, it's the wrong color, and 2, it has cement in it. So did I answer your question?
Well,
I'm
when
sorry.
you're physically doing something to the wall,
I'm physically doing something to the wall.
okay, and you don't have anybody else working for you or with you,
Unless it's an intern that is of no charge, and that's all it is, just me.
thank you.
Okay.
Madam
Miss
Chair.
Betancourt, go ahead.